Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking a fascinating topic that essentially serves as the blueprint for the entire world we live in, the economic activities all around us. Have you ever just paused in the middle of a bustling street and wondered how this whole massive system actually works together? Like, how does a farmer's field physically connect to that smartphone sitting right there in your hand? Well, we're going to break down the foundational mechanics of the economy, layer by layer, to show you exactly how all these puzzle pieces fit together.
Okay, let's dive right into our agenda. Today we're covering the root of prosperity, the primary sector, the secondary sector, the tertiary sector, a look at interdependence from farm to plate, and finally, connecting the dots.
Section 1. The Root of Prosperity.
To really get started, think about this ancient quote from Kautilya's Arthashastra. It says, "The root of prosperity is economic activity, the lack of it brings material distress." That phrase right there absolutely anchors our entire discussion. It reminds us that economic activity isn't just some modern invention, it's literally the root of our collective survival. Without it, societies face collapse or, as it says, material distress. So our current health and our future growth, they're constantly on the line. It's wild how this ancient wisdom perfectly sets the stage for our modern economy.
Now, just think about how much societies have evolved since those ancient times. I mean, decades ago, most people were tied to a pretty narrow set of jobs, right? Agriculture, raising livestock, maybe making pottery or weaving cloth. But look at this bustling modern city scene. Today, our economic activities have absolutely exploded in variety. We're manufacturing high-tech drones, we're writing complex software, repairing appliances, running massive global banks. It's this incredibly vibrant, diverse ecosystem.
So, with all this apparent chaos and totally different jobs, what ties it all together? Well, they all share one unifying trait: monetary value. Whether you're out there harvesting crops in a field or writing code up in a high-rise, if the output can be measured in terms of money, it's an economic activity. That's the universal language of our modern world. And honestly, recognizing that is the very first step in making sense of the whole shebang. Section 2. The primary sector. Everything, and I mean everything, begins right here in the primary sector. This is all about raw extraction directly from nature. We're talking farming, fishing, forestry, mining. These are the absolute bedrock activities that pull physical resources into the human economy. At this stage, we are completely 100% dependent on the natural world. Without this starting point, the rest of the economic machine just cannot run.
Section 3. The Secondary Sector.
Okay, so once we have those raw materials pulled from nature, we actually have to do something with them, right? Enter the secondary sector. This sector is all about conversion. It takes those natural raw materials and transforms them into finished products that are ready for us to actually consume. This covers everything from your massive manufacturing plants and construction sites all the way to giant power generation facilities like solar farms.
To really wrap your head around the sheer, staggering scale of this sector, check out these 2022 manufacturing stats from India's automobile industry. We're talking 45 lakh passenger cars, over 10 lakh commercial trucks, 8.6 lakh three-wheelers, and get this, an absolutely astonishing 2 crore two-wheelers all produced in just one single year. It perfectly captures the immense industrial muscle it takes to convert raw metals and plastics into the complex machines that power our daily lives.
Section 4. The tertiary sector.
But hey, making physical things is really only half the battle. Unlike the first two sectors, the tertiary sector doesn't extract physical resources, and it doesn't manufacture physical goods. Instead, it provides the services that complement and support those primary and secondary activities. You can think of it as the invisible glue that holds the entire economic machine together.
Just look at the incredible range of this industry. On one side, you have complex software development. On the other, the absolute high-stakes logistics of managing a bustling airport. But you know, the tertiary sector is also the truck driver moving goods across the country, the doctor providing your healthcare, the banker managing your finances, and the electrician keeping your lights on. Even though you might not hold a physical product in your hand at the end of the day, our modern lives would literally grind to a halt without these services.
Section 5. Interdependence. Farm to plates.
Now, these sectors definitely do not exist in isolation. Let's bring this all to life with an amazing real-world story, the Anand Milk Union Limited, or AML in Gujarat. Back in the early 1940s, local farmers basically just milked their cows and sold the milk locally. That is step one, a pure primary sector activity, getting a product straight from nature. But as they grew, they had so much milk they had to evolve. They built factories, which brings us to step two, the secondary sector, to process that milk. And finally, step 3, they use the tertiary sector to transport and sell it everywhere. Let's zoom in on those last 2 steps.
The real magic happens inside the factory. The farmer's raw milk goes through pasteurization, which is heating it up to kill harmful bacteria, and then it's processed into entirely new forms. That liquid milk gets converted into milk powder, ghee, cheese, and butter. This conversion is the absolute textbook definition of a secondary sector activity, taking a raw natural material and manufacturing it into a finished consumer good. But here's the kicker. A warehouse packed to the ceiling with cheese doesn't do anyone much good until it actually reaches a customer. That is where the tertiary sector swoops in to complete the chain. Amil relies on this massive logistics network of lorries, trucks, railways, planes, and ships. Plus, they have retail stores and supply chains in towns and villages all over. Without those vital transportation and trading services, the milk would spoil on the farm and the factory would just go out of business. The interdependence is absolute. They need each other.
Section 6, connecting the dots. Okay, consider the number 17. Every single time you engage with the economy, there's a physical resource cost. But the choices we make across all of these sectors really matter. For example, if we utilize the secondary sector to recycle just 1 ton of paper, we save 17 trees. 17! And not only that, we save 2.5 cubic meters of landfill space, and we use 70% less energy and water compared to making new paper from raw wood pulp.
Once you understand how the primary extraction of wood, the secondary manufacturing of paper, and the tertiary logistics of recycling all interact, it gives you a pretty profound perspective on how the world works. Knowing this, I want to leave you with a question to really chew on. What are the different ways through which we can judiciously use paper in your own surroundings? Think about your classroom, your office, your home. Because once you see how these economic activities are so deeply connected, you realize that every small choice you make ripples across the entire system. Thanks so much for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you next time.